Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to import your DICOM into Slicer and link up your plan from Blender with Slicer. Okay, so first we come to the load DICOM data. You may have to file import stuff first, but I've preloaded yours. So I'll select it here. I've hidden the patient name and the patient birth date. So first we'll load this up. And down here, if you left click and hold, you can adjust the contrast and brightness just to help you get a good view there. I think that looks good enough for me. Alright, in the volume rendering tab, we can turn on the volume and zoom in. And then we can select one of these presets. I like the cardiac coronary arteries preset. And you apply this little shift here. And there you get a pretty decent rendering of the bone. Okay, next thing, I'm going to click this little tab to show the region of interest. And we'll drag this piece down here until we've just cropped off those top teeth as best we can. We can also go to there. I don't at this point know how to rotate a region of interest. I know that it's possible. So if we could just spin that box, we could get a much better cropping. Okay, but that is good enough for me. So now we'll come to the crop volume tab, and I just hit crop. There we go. And you'll notice this turns off here. So when we go back to the volume rendering tab, turn this on, you do the sub volume. That's the cropped one, and then you have to change the presets again, which for some reason, even though you have this selected, pick another one and then come back to it, it looks correct. So it doesn't fully update. There we go. Alright, now we go to the editor, which you can get to from here as well. Add a structure that we're going to segment out, and that's going to be the bone. This is our double threshold. And we just drag this up till we get just the bone without too much noise. Looks pretty good. Okay, and then we will smooth the model. Model will be named bone. Let's apply that. And after a few moments, we'll see that we have a relatively overlapped bone model to what we could see in the 3D view. Now, this is just coincidence that in our volume rendering tab, how we've adjusted this matches how we segmented our the threshold that we use to segment our bone. So now we'll go to File, Save, deselect everything, select bone, change this to an STL, and we'll also save it to the same directory that your case file is in. in a moment. Okay. So yes, well, I've done this before, so I'm just going to overwrite that bone file. Now we'll come back to Blender, and I will delete this bone, because I don't know what system you use to extract that. And we'll import the bone model that we just created. Okay, now we'll come over here to the miscellaneous tab. We want the base object to be the bone and the align object to be the prep scan. Now remember, in the last video we've made it so that everything follows this, but this is still in the reference frame of the CT scan, so we want to match this to that. So select the base first, then the object. Right, we'll do our pick points alignment. Can we get in there? Kinda. That should get us close enough. And then after we do that, we can make some adjustments here. First thing I will do is kind of line this up. Take a slice through. Let's look. And I'll take a slice through here. See, that looks like it needs to. So I'll put the 3D cursor right there. That way you can rotate around the point that you don't really want to change. Double check the same thing here. And because there's so much noise in the scan, I do not think we should use the iterative closest points alignment. I don't think that would give us a very good result. So this over here, it's hard to tell. Does that improve it? Maybe. So now let's take all of our information back into Slicer and see what we think. This to me looks a tiny bit to the buckle. Okay, that actually looks very good. Okay, so here's what you do next. Hide that, select your preparation scan, your 2 implants. If you wanted to bring anything else, why don't we do this too? Why don't we give the splint a blue material, and we'll take the splint as well. Okay, so the 2 implants, the surgical guide, and the preparation scan. And we export this. That's going to put the models somewhere where Slicer knows how to import them, and then this file will tell us the colors and location. So now we come back to Slicer, and we'll import our Blender scene. And there it is. Come back to the editor. I'm going to go ahead and delete this label map and things like that so that we can see what's going on. I don't know if there's a way to hide it, but we'll delete that. And then we'll go to the models, and we'll hide the bone. Okay, now we can see how we did with our alignment. Okay, it doesn't look too bad. Especially there. That looks like we've done a pretty good job. It's really hard to read with the metal artifacts. But we're certainly not far enough off that it's going to matter clinically at this point. What you really want to make sure is that you don't have any major deviations, in one direction or another. Okay, and then let's say you noticed something that you didn't like here. You came back and said, well, I want to sink that implant deeper. Re-export that. Let's turn off our bone here so we can see the implants. And then when we do this, it updates the location. Now your guide wouldn't be updated. You'd have to remake your guide, but that's how you can do that. Or if you didn't like the alignment of the preparation scan to the bone, move that over here. Okay, now that wouldn't make sense, but you get the idea. Good. Okay.